Former Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who is eyeing the country's presidency, has faulted the government over the recently amended Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Law, terming it a threat to digital freedom. In an exclusive interview with our reporter Herman Kamariki, Matiang'i also criticized the lifting of the logging ban, insisting that the rule of law must be upheld and court directives respected. Here is that conversation.
I just want to begin from the cybercrime bill that has been assented into a law by the president. What do you think about it? Some say it is to protect people online. Some say it is getting into an infringement to the freedom of expression online.
So I come from the point of view, first of all, of understanding that the reality and the need to deal with abuse of social media is real, especially in the case of Kenya. But that then has to be mediated with the demand for the freedoms that we need. I mean, for a country that did away with the Public Order Act in the manner in which it was, and the Chiefs Authority Act in the manner in which it was, we cannot again go look like we are going back to that arrangement where the executive branch of government is getting willy-nilly the powers to determine whether or not you can have a social media account. Essentially, that's what it boils down to. It just simply cannot happen, even in the context of the constitution that we have. Let's sacrifice more and let us exercise our thoughts more in looking for ways of dealing with abuse of social media. But I know that taking the decisions we are taking with this enactment is the easier way out. You know, give government authority to clamp down on social media users. It is an easier way. The other ways we can go about it and resolve the problem without infringing on freedoms. A classic example I've given several people is, look at what the UK did the other day when there was an attempt to misuse social media to mobilize against the immigrants and so on. Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who's himself a previous prosecutor, worked with the judicial system to punish the offenders. Yes. What I would do is to have a discussion with the Judicial Service Commission and the Chief Justice and see whether we can have special magistrates court and work with regulatory institutions so that then when we are convinced that there are cases of abuse of social media, we have an avenue through the justice system of recourse. But to give the executive branch of government or whatever agencies an opportunity to willy-nilly decide whether or not you are going to run, I mean, it's unthinkable. How can that happen?
If you got into power and you had that opportunity, would you scrap off that way?
I wouldn't have it. I mean, I would not tolerate that kind of regime. It doesn't mean that I would tolerate abuse of social media. I have been a victim of abuse of social media before. I have been a victim of that. So I understand what this means. And there are many, many people I know. When I was at Harambee House, we dealt with these problems. There are bloggers who were arrested. They went to court, the magistrate bonded them. Some of them 5 times over, 6 times over, and so on. My brother, democracy is not a walk in the park. It's messy, but at the moment, the alternative is surrenders. The account.
Just speaking about the same, we have seen government is silent on the case of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo, who were abducted in Uganda. And we haven't seen any move, and actually the cries are all over social media asking for these guys to be brought to Kenya. We have even seen demonstrations that are being planned by the GNZs and the youth to force the government to act on this. What is your take on that?
I'm really concerned about the decline of democracy in the region. I mean, the things we are seeing in the region are very, very frightening. Yeah. And this did not start today. Yes. I was Minister for Interior when, after the elections in 2020 in Tanzania, the government then asked us to arrest opposition leaders who had crossed over to Kenya. President Kenyatta, of course, put his foot down and said we couldn't arrest them. And even when some of the government officers from that part of the region spoke to me, we all refused. Our Attorney General, then retired Justice Kiara Kariuki, took us all through the law and said we cannot engage in those kinds of renditions. The largest UN office in the south is in Nairobi. UNHCR is around. We cannot arrest people because of the politics in their country and so on. Now, that is the reason why you get not just concerned. The issue of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo is grave. And for the government, let me say this today as a former minister, it is shameful. You know, when you think about it, it's very shameful. Citizens of your country are arrested and they are being mistreated in another country. I mean, where do you even have the moral authority to actually claim to be government? How do people see you? in the first place.
The same government gave confirmed that even some Kenyans are in Russia as well, fighting and going there through scrupulous means. And remember, when you were the interior CS, you also talked about the agents that had been transporting these people outside. When the government accepts that yes, there are Kenyans on the front line in Russia,
Illegal migration of labor cannot be blamed on government, because if you decide to sign up with mercenaries on your own volition, yes, to fight in West Africa and so on, we can't blame government. That's a decision you have taken of your own volition. When it is a crime is when we have ourselves transported you to West Africa to fight as a mercenary. But the illegal labor migration, because that is one of those illegal labor migrations, you can't blame that on government.
The agencies are operating within the country.
If the agencies are operating within the country that are recruiting those people to do that, that is an illegality government needs to address.
Talk about the lifting of logging that was done by the president. We saw him say it should be lifted. He banned it, then he has lifted it again. What do you think? Are we moving in the right direction, economic to improve, as he says, or we are actually going against the very idea that he had to have 15 billion trees planted by 2032?
You know, you have noticed that in public discourse, and as we have been going on the campaign trail, I've restrained myself from making sideline commentaries on certain public policy actions, because sometimes I want to begin from this point as someone who has been in government, that probably those who are taking those actions have got good reasons why they have taken them. I have not seen the reasons, and I think from a point of view of accountability, the head of state did not explain why he has taken those actions. I hope that in the course of time, the Minister for Environment or the Cabinet Secretary for Environment will now explain that to the public and back it with, facts about what they have done. Then we will be able to understand.
But the court had ruled that it is illegal.
So if it is illegal, it is simply illegal. It doesn't even have to be what I say myself as Fred Matiang'i. If it is illegal and the court has ruled it is illegal, it's as simple as that. It is illegal.
Residents of Anga